Inspiration is something that's been deep inside of me. How do I inspire people to make a difference in the world? How do I get people to take action and to do what's right in their hearts and in their minds? It's very difficult for human beings these days to stand up for themselves because there are a lot of ridiculers, there are a lot of bullies, there are a lot of people who want to put you down and tell you that you're no good and that you're an idiot, or in scientific communities they call you a pseudoscientist or a crank or a crackpot. What I want my listeners to realize is that a lot of the time when people do things like that, when they bully you, when they tell you you're no good, it's because inside of themselves they don't feel worthy. Inside of themselves they know something is seriously wrong. And over time I've learned that ridicule and bullying and just overall calling you names and things like that, it's actually, now hear me out, it's actually the sincerest compliment. Because they're not calling you an idiot. They're not calling you a crank, even though, they verbalize it online, inside of videos, and in online forums and science forums communities and things like that, and international skeptical communities and things like that. What it really is they're looking inside themselves. They're afraid of their own idiocy, their own uncertainty of the world. And instead of feeling like that inside of themselves, they have to put it out onto somebody else. They have to ridicule or bully somebody else. And that's what it really amounts to. It's just, it's a psychological mechanism. I can't remember what it's called. But basically, people can only see inside of you what's already inside of yourself, or what's already inside of themselves. So that bully who's trying to put you down and make fun of you is just a hurt person. They're hurt inside. And the only way they know how to express that hurt is by lashing out at others. Now, this is a very deep understanding of what it means to be human. And I don't expect a lot of people who are watching this to really understand that. But over time, you'll really start to get it. And when you start to come to terms with it, you realize that people, they're in their own minds. They don't really care about you at all. They're in their own minds. They have their own beliefs. They have their own ways of looking at the world. And when their own mind and their own beliefs and their own ways of looking about the world are endangered, they lash out to protect their mind. They don't care at all about whether or not you're a crank or a crackpot. They're not concerned about you at all. They're trying to protect themselves. They're trying to protect their own comfort, their comfort zone. They don't like being out in the open. People don't like being vulnerable. They don't like being afraid. They like to believe that they have a firm bead on things. They like to believe that everything is just how they believe it, and they can just push out whatever doesn't fit into their belief. And I think it's good for people to do that for the most part, because most people can't handle the truth of what's out there. They can't handle it. It's too much for them. So they're happy in their own little bubbles of reality. They're happy being safe and secure. Keep that in mind when you go to online forums and you try to help people expand their minds, because they're going to lash out at you. They're going to lash out at you. You're going to want to help them to expand themselves, but that help you give them, it's not going to be viewed from their own mind as being helped. They're going to view you as the enemy, the person who needs to be, shoved into a little corner of the little forum, of the pseudoscience corner, or of the that can't be true forum, or they're going to try to push you away, and they're going to lock your thread, and they're going to ridicule the crap out of you, and they're all going to gang up on you like a giant beehive. I remember I went over that in an earlier talk. Most human beings can't handle the truth. They can't. Because the truth is scary as hell. It's absolutely frightening to understand what's really up there. It's absolutely frightening. Now, I served 4 years in the Marine Corps, from 2003 to 2007. And I've also gone to Florida State University, Brevard Community College, and University of Central Florida, so I have a reasonable education, and I've been reasonably socialized. But nothing in all of that could have prepared me for the experience of being a scientific dissident. Somebody who brings in a new idea to other, what I would consider rational-minded people. Because rationality goes right out the window when ego is threatened. If you threaten somebody's ego of the way they feel about the world around them and their worldview, you can kiss rationality goodbye. It doesn't matter how intelligent of a person you're dealing with anymore, because that person will immediately become fearful of you. And once they become fearful of you, there's no way you're going to get to them. They'll put that wall up, and you're never going to show them how things really work. And they're never going to listen to you. That's how it works. So, my advice is, if you have a new idea, such as stellar metamorphosis or any other idea, it doesn't matter what it is, keep that in mind. You don't even have to call people names for them to put their walls up. All you have to do is present an idea to them where it conflicts with their own internal self-worth and what they have considered as real and possible. All you have to do is bring an idea that conflicts with that, and they'll automatically put the walls up for you. You don't even have to call them names. They'll immediately go on the defense. It's a very powerful lesson that I've learned, and it is a very big barrier towards inspiring people to make a difference in the world. Because you can't inspire somebody if they're afraid of you. You can't bring out the good in them if they have their walls up. You can't convince them to change if they're afraid of you. I think that sums up this talk. It is Sunday, February 15th, 2015. I'll go ahead and make another talk. I think that one sums this one up on that subject.